In tonight's edition of Australian Immigration News, South Australia is seeking more migrants to join their progressive state, points test changes are coming, or so we're told, the Liberal Party migration policy gets off to a pretty bad start, and be careful when you claim work experience with New South Wales for the 190 and 491 visas.
Houston, we have a problem.
Are we expecting any bad news tonight?
I certainly hope not.
For a while now, the South Australian Premier Peter Melaniskis has been stressing the need for skilled engineers to migrate to their region. Last year, he said,
when we think about the labour workforce shortages that we've got here for the opportunities that are here now and the ones that we know are coming over the next 10 years, we've got shortage in almost every area of skill. But if you are anything that is engineering related, you're going to have more work than you know what to do with. We need more engineers. We need more software engineers. We need more mechanical engineers. We need chemical engineers, particularly around the mining effort. Every type of engineer that you can possibly think of.
And when checking the latest invitation round results, you can see they are indeed giving this sector a priority in invitations given out for the 190 and 491 state-sponsored visas. You can see that design, engineering, science and transport professionals are only second in the total of invitations given out this financial year, 230 compared to 269 for health professionals. This week at the Economic Development Committee of Australia Forum, the South Australia Premier was making us all feel excited about what was happening there.
If we are the part of the world that is having the confidence and the courage to look out to opportunity rather than look in on ourselves, if we do this and do it well, we can genuinely be a source of hope and aspiration for everybody in this state, let alone other parts of the country and the world. I'm excited about that.
It's enough to want to pack up your bags and off you go. He said the state needed an extra 2,100 migrants to keep their yearly intake to over 23,000. His message was quite clear to those political parties adopting an anti-migration policies, particularly One Nation. In an article in The Australian this week, he is quoted as saying what could be one of the most profound real-life scenarios of all time. He said, "My message to One Nation voters is who's going to feed you and bathe you and wipe your bum when you're 90, because it ain't going to be your kids."
Ain't that the truth?
The dreams and leadership of the South Australia Premier, however, do not seem to be matched at the federal level of politics. Whilst higher migration numbers are being talked about openly in the South, in Canberra, migration has become the topic that no one wants to talk about, like a certain well-known somebody.
We do not speak his name.
The Immigration Minister almost never faces the morning show media invitations, and other Labor ministers are left to stumble along and fill the gaps. This week it was the lack of progress of the skilled migration reforms, particularly the new points test, that grabbed the interest of Channel 7's Sunrise program. Only the Social Service Minister could be found to defend the government's snail-paced reform package.
The government is being urged to update our system of selecting skilled migrants as immigration emerges as a key issue for voters in this term of politics. The current system involves a points test where migrants are assessed on their experience and their qualifications. But a recent review found that was pretty outdated as it was not targeting the most skilled applicants. Labor had pledged to introduce reforms about 3 years ago, but only consultations have apparently taken place. So you were going to reform the skills test for how we bring in the best skilled migrants into this country. When's that going to happen?
Well, the Immigration Department's looking at it, and it's important to get this right, Nat, because, of course, we need to have skilled migrants for our nation. Just one example is the AUKUS building project that we're doing now. This is thousands of jobs coming up in coming years, and some of them are very highly skilled jobs. We need to make sure we're getting the best people in here with the best skills. One area where we have, for example, really increased skilled migration is in the building trades. We've tripled skilled migration in the building trades because one of the reasons that homes are so expensive to build at the moment is because we don't have the skilled workforce to build them.
Okay, so we need to get the immigration settings right because AUKUS is 300,000 people short for that workforce. They need jobs like architects, engineers, scientists. Yeah, I think, as far as I know, you have to go to uni for that. They need labourers and project managers. That is all facing a shortfall.
And of course, many of those jobs will be going to South Australia, so we can only expect the request for more state sponsorship numbers to rise dramatically in the next couple of years. So when do we think the points test reforms will take place? And I know this is a common question in our comments section. Well, my guess is they will announce the reforms by July this year, with a later starting date so people have time to adapt. However, this government will definitely want to go to the next election with the changes in place as a demonstration of getting reforms completed. So they have until May 2028. This means the reforms are likely to begin in July 2027. After a damaging split with the Nationals and a messy leadership takeover, the Liberal Party is trying to claw back its way from irrelevance and can't wait to speak about cutting migration numbers to gain votes. However, in a funny twist this week, someone within the Liberal camp was a little too eager by leaking an unauthorised migration policy before the boss had even seen it.
Let's have a look at this plan that's being leaked today. It's from your side of politics. Somebody's leaked Susan Lee's immigration policy, the effect of which is really to steal your thunder and claim that a hard line on immigration was her initiative, not yours. It's not a great start, is it?
Well, that document, which I haven't actually seen, has no validity. As I understand, well, I know it didn't go through Shadow Cabinet or the leadership, and as I understand it, it wasn't seen by the relevant immigration shadows. So, frankly, I don't know what the document is. I don't know where it's come from. And I don't know what's in it. What I do know, though, is we need an immigration policy that raises the standards, reduces the numbers, because the standards have been too low and the numbers have been too high.
But in the end, it's always the same old story from the Liberals, threatening to cut the migration numbers but not disclosing which part of the migration program would be slashed. After a long period of being in the dark, last year the New South Wales government finally adopted the DOA policy of assessing work experience and moved away from using the Skill Assessment Authority's deeming dates. This is reflected in the detail on their webpage, where they state, "We have recently updated our approach to skilled employment, removing previous restrictions on what employment can be claimed in your EOI. New South Wales now follows the Home Affairs definition of skilled employment." On face value, it would seem they do follow the DOA policy as they use this statement regarding their assessment criteria. New South Wales adopts the following definition for skilled employment: the opinion of the relevant skills assessing authority on the period of skilled employment, including the date on which they deem the applicant to be skilled, and the Australian and New Zealand Standard Classification of Occupations, ANSCO, including any prerequisite qualifications/work experience relevant to the claimed skilled employment. And most importantly, if the Skill Assessing Authority's opinion would result in the applicant being awarded less points than the applicant claimed in their EOI, then New South Wales will consider information in ANSCO and apply the more beneficial outcome in determining when the applicant was working at a skilled level. However, are they really applying a more beneficial outcome to applicants? Well, it doesn't seem so in all cases. I'll give you one recent example that came to my attention. An applicant who applied was refused his work experience points due to holding a Bachelor of Engineering degree and then worked as a IT professional. He was told that he could not claim the work experience points directly after his graduation because his degree was not relevant to IT. So New South Wales has taken upon themselves to determine what they believe to be relevant and what they deem not to be. So what experience or what guidelines, if any, do they use to come to these conclusions? None of this has been released, so we are all in the dark in their decision-making process. Does New South Wales require it to be slightly relevant, or highly relevant, or super relevant? Also, do they even have the expertise in different occupations to be able to judge relevancy? The New South Wales guidelines also conveniently ignores and leaves out the remaining paragraph of the DOA policy in assessing work experience points, and it's the most important part of all. And it states, the regulations require only that an applicant is employed in the nominated skilled occupation for a particular period of time. The provision does not require the applicant to have the skills of a particular standard during that period of employment. The decision maker can consider whether the applicant is undertaking at least some of the duties prescribed for a position in ANSCO. For example, if a client is claiming employment as a carpenter, the tasks they are undertaking are those of a carpenter. So the use of ANSCO and an assessment of work experience points is really about whether someone is working in their occupation or not. It's not about assessing the relevance of someone's qualifications, because ANSCO is completely silent on the issue of relevancy. So the warning is to be careful when applying to New South Wales when the relevancy of your qualification compared to your nominated occupation could be called into question, and the amount of work experience points claimed. The petition I lodged last week is still waiting to be authorised, but in the meantime, Ibrahim left a comment this week letting us know there's another petition out there ready to be signed now. Hi Karl, I just thought I'd let you know there's already a petition out there that is very similar to what you proposed. Petition EN 9363, ensure timely processing of subclass 191 permanent resident visa applications. I suppose people should be encouraged to sign both this one and yours to come. Absolutely, Ibrahim, it's a great idea to sign both and any other ones that may come along. Thanks for letting us know, and I'll leave a link for it in the description. Well, that's all for another fascinating week in what's going on in the world of Australian immigration. Remember, if you need help, we are always here. You can book a consultation online, but if you're in a hurry, just pick up the phone. As always, take care out there, and I'll see you next time. So bye for now.